She's not the kind of woman we seat up front. Tell her to wait by the bar or leave." That's what Laura Bennett, the restaurant manager of Haven Bistro, said as soon as Nia Carter stepped through the front doors. The words weren't whispered. They were flat, clear, and brutal. Loud enough that the couple behind Nia paused mid-conversation before diving into the story. "I want to know, where are you watching this from? Because what happened in Atlanta tonight deserves to be heard far beyond one city. If you've ever felt overlooked, if you've ever been made small in a place you built with your own hands, stay with me, share this moment, like, subscribe, and pass it on. Because respect shouldn't depend on what you wear or who they think you are." Now, back to that Sunday night at 7:15 p.m. Thunder rolled low across the Atlanta sky, and a warm burst of rain pelted down like coins onto the sidewalk outside Haven Bistro. The restaurant, known for its mahogany tables and soft pendant lighting, was packed, shoulder to shoulder, with soaked patrons who dashed in without reservations to avoid the storm. Umbrellas dripped onto marble floors. Coats were carelessly hung across booths. The whole place buzzed with the anxious hum of weather-worn diners, and into that chaos walked Nia Carter, billionaire founder of Carter Dining Group, dressed in a simple cream blouse and navy skirt, her curls still damp from the rain. No entourage, no jewelry. Just a woman walking alone into her own restaurant, undercover. She had been reading Yelp reviews for weeks now, complaints about rude staff, biased treatment, walk-ins turned away while others skipped the line. She needed to see it for herself. What she didn't expect was to be at the center of the problem. Standing behind the front host stand was Ava Lynn, the 23-year-old hostess whose eyes barely lifted from the screen before flicking back down. "Name?" she asked without emotion. "Just looking for a table for one," Nia replied evenly. Ava glanced at the screen, frowned, and shook her head. "We're full. No walk-ins tonight." That's when Laura leaned in from the side, arms crossed tight, eyes scanning Nia's outfit like it told her everything she needed to know. "We've got a strict reservation policy tonight. Thunderstorms packed the room. We can't just seat anyone off the street." The way she said anyone hung in the air, sour and pointed, before Nia could respond. A man brushed past her shoulder, shaking out his damp blazer. Gregory Wells, a white real estate developer with slicked back hair and designer boots, stood tall and impatient beside her. "Excuse me," he said loudly, flashing his phone toward Ava. "Priority seating for Gregory Wells. Table by the window." Ava smiled, took one glance at the screen, and motioned toward the server. "Right this way, Mr. Wells." Nia, still standing by the podium, asked calmly, "Wasn't there no seating?" Ava didn't even flinch. "That's for walk-ins." Gregory turned as he passed, giving Nia's faded purse a side glance. "Don't take it personally. They're just doing their job." Nia's jaw tightened, but she didn't raise her voice. "I built this place for everyone," she said under her breath, just loud enough that Owen Hayes, a customer sitting near the bar, lifted his head. The bartender caught it too. And from the far corner booth, a young black artist named Imani Green paused mid-sketch, her pencil stilling over the page. The room didn't quiet, but something shifted. Nia pressed gently. "Could you double-check? Maybe there's a cancellation?" Ava rolled her eyes. Turning to Laura, "We have a VIP protocol," Laura muttered. "We don't seat off reservation unless flagged by a partner. Let her wait by the bar or step out." Owen stood. "Excuse me, I've been coming here for 3 years," she asked respectfully. "Maybe check again?" Laura's smile didn't reach her eyes. "Sir, we appreciate your loyalty, but our policy is the same for everyone." "Is it?" Elena Ruiz, a teacher seated near the fireplace, asked gently. "Because I've seen 3 people get seated without checking in." Laura ignored her. at that moment. Nia pulled out her phone, dialed a number, and said simply, "Kayla, call the line." Seconds later, Ava's phone lit up. She picked it up, listened, then stiffened. "Someone just made a reservation," she said. Laura walked over, took the phone, and listened for a second. Then she hung up. "That's a fake in," she snapped. "We're not falling for tricks." Owen stepped closer. "You realize she just proved the system works. Maybe the issue isn't space. It's who you're making space for." Nia remained still. Her eyes swept the room. "I'd like you to log this interaction, Ms. Lynn," she said softly. Ava scoffed. "This isn't corporate." "It will be," Nia replied. The storm outside cracked again, a rumble deep enough to shake the window panes. Chairs scraped, diners turned, and just then, Owen's gaze caught a flash of text on Ava's phone, highlighted in green. "Priority, Gregory Wells. No reservation needed." It read, "You have a flagging system," Owen said aloud. "So this isn't just first come, it's curated." Ava tried to snatch the phone away. "That's internal." "It's biased," Imani said, standing now. "It's every reason I stopped coming," Gregory scoffed. "Oh, please. You people always." "Gregory," Elena barked. "That's enough." Ava, flustered, turned to Laura. "What do we do?" Laura folded her arms. "She needs to leave. She's causing a scene." That's when Nia took one breath, one long, steady breath, and said, "You've dishonored my name in the house I built." Laura blinked. "Excuse me?" "I am Nia Carter," she said. "And in 10 minutes, none of you will be working here." Ava laughed nervously. "You're kidding." "I'm not," Nia said. "And the logs your team ignored? They're already being reviewed?" For a heartbeat, the room held its breath. Then Kayla's voice came through the phone again. "Confirmation received, logging all responses." Gregory paled. Laura turned to Marcus, the security guard near the kitchen. "Get her out." And yet Marcus didn't move. Not yet. Because something about Nia's voice, her calm, her control, froze the moment. Behind her, the doors opened again, letting in another gust of rain and 2 more customers, soaking wet, shaking their heads at the crowded scene. "No room?" one asked. "We saw tables open through the window." And the truth, now visible to everyone, hovered like steam over the mahogany floors. There were seats. There was space. What there wasn't was decency. And with each passing second, the room turned its gaze back to Nia, not as a walk-in, not as an inconvenience, but as someone far more powerful than any of them had realized. "You're not on the list. I've checked twice. You need to leave now before we escalate this," Ava snapped, her voice sharp enough to cut through the hum of clinking glasses and storm-thickened conversation. The dining room of Haven Bistro was still packed, still buzzing with the chaos of a stormy Sunday night. But now the energy had shifted. Eyes drifted toward the front, toward Nia Carter, standing in poise and silence, the very picture of restraint. While the front-of-house staff unraveled before her, Laura Bennett crossed her arms tighter. "You heard her. There's no reservation under your name, and we don't have time for games. We're overwhelmed tonight. Try another place. Maybe come back next week." Nia didn't flinch. "I called 10 minutes ago. It was logged," Ava scoffed. "People call all the time. Doesn't mean they're seated." Beside the hostess stand, Gregory Wells chuckled, sliding into his table near the window like royalty. "Told you," he muttered under his breath. "She's wasting everyone's time." Nia turned slightly, her gaze cool, controlled. "I'm wasting no one's time but yours, Mr. Wells. And that clock is ticking." Gregory blinked, but said nothing. Owen Hayes, still standing near the bar, raised his phone again. "I just logged another complaint," he said. "And I'm not alone. Your staff is targeting people based on looks and assumptions. And it's not the first time." Laura's face flushed. "Sir, I will not be spoken to like someone being held accountable." Owen cut in. "Good, then listen." Behind them, the kitchen doors flapped open, revealing Ethan Price, the server assigned to Gregory's table. Ethan was tall, wiry, and flustered, holding a half-assembled charcuterie board in one hand and wiping sweat from his temple with the other. "Chef says we're 30 minutes behind. The duck confit hasn't landed, and the delivery's still out," he muttered, passing the update to Ava and Laura in a low voice. "We can't delay anymore," Laura snapped. "Then expedite something." "Comp bread. I don't care. Just keep them happy." Ethan turned to glance at Nia, still standing there, and for a second, his expression shifted. A flicker of guilt passed over his face like a shadow. Kayla Ross's voice came again from the phone in Nia's hand, crisp and unshaken. "I've logged the time, names, and statements. Do you want to proceed with internal alert escalation? Ms. Carter?" Nia didn't respond yet. She looked directly at Ethan. "You know who I am now, don't you?" Ethan nodded slowly, his mouth slightly open. I didn't know at first." Ava shot him a look, but Nia continued. "Then why did you delete my reservation?" Silence. Ethan blinked hard. The room held still. I didn't think it was real," he stammered. "We've been told to filter out certain names if they don't match the look." That's when Ava's composure cracked. She stepped away from the podium, eyes flashing. "Ethan, stop. Don't speak for the team. That's not what happened." But Ethan didn't stop. He shook his head and looked at the floor. "Laura trained us. Said if someone walks in looking like a non-VIP and the name doesn't match the system exactly, flag them, stall them, or scrub the slot." Gasps rippled through the room. Even the soft jazz piping through the speakers seemed to dim. "Are you saying," Elena Ruiz asked, standing now, "that this entire front desk protocol is designed to block certain types of guests?" "That's what I was told," Ethan said, voice low. "And I wasn't the only one." Ava's mouth moved, but no sound came. Gregory laughed nervously, trying to lighten the air. "You're blowing this way out of proportion. This place has standards. That's what makes it work." "Standards?" Imani Green asked sharply. "Or is that code for something else?" Laura stepped forward, her voice rising. "None of this matters. She still doesn't have a reservation. That's policy. If we're going to start letting in walk-ins just because they make a scene, then what's the point of order?" Nia finally spoke. "The point of order, Ms. Bennett, is fairness, and you've failed that spectacularly." She turned to Kayla. "Log Ethan's statement. Begin Phase 2. Kayla's voice was steady. "Phase 2 logged, recommending full staff audit." Owen stepped closer to the stand. "You can't hide this anymore. There are witnesses. There are customers who've seen this same thing happen for months." Elena nodded. "I teach civic ethics. This isn't just discrimination. It's a pattern of professional malpractice." Ava's voice cracked. "We were just following instructions. That's not an excuse," Nia said. "It's an admission." Marcus, the security guard, finally stepped forward, his brow furrowed. "Ma'am, should I escort her out?" "You lay a hand on me," Nia said calmly, "and it's not just your badge you'll lose. It'll be the entire contract your company holds with Carter Dining Group." Marcus froze in place, his hand inches from his earpiece. "Understood." Ethan turned away, shoulders hunched. "I'm sorry," he muttered. "I didn't know you'd see it for yourself." "That's the problem. Nia replied. You shouldn't have had to know who I was to do the right thing. Ava looked like she might cry. We didn't mean harm. You meant convenience, Elena corrected. And that's what gets people hurt. Corporate's watching now, Kayla said over speakerphone. We've pulled the last 12 weeks of incident logs. Yelp complaints align. Laura opened her mouth, but Nia raised a hand. Don't speak. Every word digs deeper. Gregory stood up from his table, napkin in hand. Well, I'm not staying for this circus. No one asked you to, Imani said, folding her sketchbook. But we'll remember how you moved when it mattered. Gregory shook his head and stormed toward the exit, brushing past Nia like she didn't exist. She didn't even blink. Let it happen, she said softly to no one in particular. Then louder. Let all of it happen. This is what real accountability looks like. Not a show, not a speech, just truth. Stated plainly and faced fully. Ava looked down. Ethan backed toward the kitchen. Laura clenched her fists. And through the wide windows. The storm rolled on, rain smearing the glass, thunder pacing itself like a drumbeat marking the seconds until everything changed. Laura's voice sliced through the dining room like a cold knife. If you don't leave now, I will personally have you removed. Her posture was rigid, face flushed from a mix of panic and indignation, eyes darting between customers who were no longer just dining. They were listening, watching, absorbing every word. Do you have any idea what you're doing? She barked. Nia Carter didn't move. She stood squarely in front of the podium, calm and grounded, her tone measured. I'm doing exactly what I came here to do. Observe what my guests experience. And I've seen enough. Laura stepped forward, inches from her. We're under pressure. It's a storm. Orders are delayed. We've got VIP clients expecting a certain standard. Nia replied evenly. Then maybe the problem isn't the storm. It's the standard. Laura's hand waved toward the corner. Marcus, now! Marcus Tate, the security guard, approached with hesitation, glancing at Nia, then at the cluster of customers whose eyes tracked his every step. Ma'am, he said carefully, I'm going to need you to step outside, just until we sort this out. Touch me, Nia said, her voice barely above a whisper, and I will shut down this location before sunrise. Marcus froze, his hand hanging near his radio. Behind him, Ethan emerged again, arms slack, apron wrinkled, eyes darting to Laura. He looked like he wanted to vanish. Don't, Nia said without turning. Say what you need to say. Ethan's breath hitched. I was the one who deleted her reservation. A gasp erupted from the back of the room. Laura's face went blank. You what? I removed her name from the system when it popped up, Ethan admitted, staring at the floor. Ava said to flag unfamiliar names, especially ones that didn't match the VIP profile. I didn't know who she was. I just did what we were trained to do. You deleted the reservation of the woman who owns this entire brand? Owen said aloud. Disbelief stretched across every syllable. Ethan nodded. I didn't think it would matter. I thought she'd walk away like most do. And when they do, Nia said, locking eyes with him, do you ever stop to ask what they leave carrying with them? Ethan opened his mouth, then closed it. Ava stepped back, visibly shaken, her voice dry and brittle. That's not what I meant when I said VIP protocol. I didn't tell him to do that directly. But you implied it. Elena cut in. He just made the implication plain. Customers were standing now, not angry, not yelling, just standing. A unified, silent resistance that spoke louder than any outburst. Marcus took a slow step back. I'm not putting my hands on her, he said quietly. That's between her and corporate now. It always was. Kayla's voice rang clearly through the speakerphone in Nia's hand. Marcus Tate, Ethan Price, Ava Lynn, Laura Bennett, your names have been logged, statements recorded, internal response team already briefed. Laura turned to Nia, her face reddening. You can't just walk in here and threaten everyone. That's not how this works. That's exactly how it works, Nia replied. Because you didn't just mistreat a guest tonight. You disrespected the very foundation of this establishment. This isn't just about me. It's about everyone you turned away because you didn't like how they looked, or what they wore, or who you assumed they were. Gregory Wells, now standing with his jacket over one arm, tossed a glance toward the door. If I had known this was going to be some kind of social justice protest, I'd have stayed home. Then leave, Imani said, stepping forward. Go on. The rest of us want to see what justice actually looks like. I second that, Owen added, because if we let this slide, we're part of it too. Gregory snorted and brushed past the host stand, not even glancing at Nia. His seat remained empty, the table where he once sat, untouched and immaculate, now felt like a monument to entitlement. So what happens now? Ethan asked, voice weak. We get fired? That depends, Nia said. On what else you've been hiding? Ava looked like she'd swallowed broken glass. Her voice cracked as she said, There's a folder, internal complaints. Not all of them were filed. Some were filtered out before they reached corporate. Kayla's voice sharpened. Where is it? Back office, Ava muttered. Bottom drawer, labeled service notes. Nia's eyes didn't shift. Kayla, mark it. Flag for investigation. Logged, Kayla confirmed. And synced to your internal file. You held back bias complaints? Elena asked, horrified. We thought if we didn't escalate them, they'd just stop coming in. Ava whispered. You thought silence was a solution? Nia asked. No. Ava replied. I thought silence was survival. That landed heavier than anything so far, because for a moment, everyone saw her, not just as a young hostess, but as a cog in a system, not excused, but exposed. Nia looked at Ethan again. Do you regret it? Yes, he said. But I know that doesn't change what I did. Good, she said, because you'll have time to reflect on it, somewhere else. Laura straightened. You're really doing this? Right here? Publicly? Yes, Nia answered. Because this didn't happen in private. And what's broken in the open must be mended in the open too. Imani stepped forward, voice calm but firm. You're the reason I stopped bringing my friends here. I got tired of being made to feel invisible. Tonight, you gave me reason to come back. Nia gave her a small nod. That matters to me more than any 5-star review. The storm outside cracked again. One long, low rumble like a closing curtain. Then the lights flickered, once, and held steady. Marcus took another step back, arms folded. So, boss, what now? Nia turned slowly to face the dining room. Now, she said, we begin making it right. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was heavy, full. And in that pause, something shifted in Haven Bistro, something permanent. A place once defined by silent exclusions was now filled with voices that refused to be quiet. The reckoning had arrived, and no one, not Laura, not Ethan, not Ava, could stop what was coming next. Marcus, escort her out, now! Laura barked, her voice cracking beneath the weight of the unraveling room. Her command was sharp, desperate, fueled more by fear than authority. But Marcus didn't move, not yet. His eyes shifted from Laura to Nia, then to the customers who were no longer passive diners, but active witnesses. He could feel the air tighten. This wasn't just a confrontation anymore. It was a reckoning. Do it! Laura shouted again. Marcus sighed and took one step forward, placing his hand lightly on the edge of the hostess stand. Not yet reaching for Nia, "Ma'am," he said, almost gently. "I really don't want to make this worse." "You don't have to," Nia replied calmly. "You just have to decide what side of this you're on." A pause followed, tense, breathless, until Ava, visibly shaken, tried to deflect. "We still need to control the room. She's disrupting service. Look around. This isn't normal." "No," said Imani Green, rising from her table. "It's not normal, but it is necessary." "Sit down," Laura snapped, turning toward her. "This doesn't concern you." "It does," Imani shot back, her voice firm. "I've been ignored here, talked down to, and now you're trying to remove the one woman who's actually standing up?" "You people always twist things," Gregory muttered from the entryway, still lurking near the door. "Enough," said Owen, stepping beside Imani. "You're the only one twisting now." Laura's face twisted in disgust. "Security! Both of them! Out! I won't ask again." Marcus looked at her and shook his head. "No, I'm not doing it." "Excuse me?" Laura snapped. "You answer to me." "No," Marcus said, turning toward the dining room. "Not anymore." He cleared his throat. "Ms. Carter, I need to say something. You're not the first to walk in here and be turned away. I've seen it. I've enforced it. Not because I wanted to, but because Laura told us to follow a verbal script. If someone didn't look like a regular, we were told to delay, deflect, or redirect." The room fell still. Nia tilted her head, her voice measured. "You're saying she gave verbal orders to discriminate?" "Yes," Marcus said. "She'd say things like, 'That one's not VIP material,' or 'Let's keep the look upscale tonight.' I didn't question it. I should have. That's on me." Ava's hand flew to her mouth. "You said those things in front of us, Laura, all the time." Laura paled, taking a step back. "That's not what I meant. You're twisting my words." "No," said Ethan quietly. "You just never thought they'd echo back." Nia looked toward Kayla's phone, still connected. "Kayla?" "Recording captured. Marcus's statement logged," came the crisp reply. "Laura Bennett's conduct confirmed under multiple staff accounts." Laura turned to Ethan. "You're going to let them destroy everything we built?" Ethan shook his head. "You destroyed it the moment you taught us to hide the truth." "That folder," Owen reminded everyone. "Ava said there's a file of complaints in the office, hidden from corporate." "It's real," Ava admitted. "I saw it every shift." Laura kept it locked unless someone she didn't trust was working. Elena stepped forward from her table, her voice calm but firm. "This isn't a restaurant anymore. It's a case study, and we're all witnesses." "Kayla," Nia said, never raising her voice, "advance to Internal Response Tier 3 and inform legal that staff statements have been made in front of verified third parties." "Confirmed," Kayla said. "Legal team notified. Investigation will begin within the hour." Laura's composure finally cracked. Her voice pitched higher, trembling now. "You can't just fire us like this. You need approvals. Procedures." "I don't," Nia said, "because I own this place. I wrote the procedures, and I gave you years to prove yourself. Tonight, you proved who you really are." "You don't understand what it's like down here," Laura said, breath ragged. "These guests, these nights, we do what we have to do to survive." "That's the lie," Nia said. "The one you've been feeding your team. That surviving means choosing who deserves respect. That pressure justifies prejudice. But it doesn't. It never has." The thunder outside rolled again, distant now, like a warning heading somewhere else. Inside. Haven Bistro had gone utterly quiet. Imani placed a gentle hand on Nia's shoulder. "I almost didn't speak up, but I'm glad I did." "So am I," Nia said softly. "And this place will be better because of voices like yours." Marcus lowered his head. I should have said something sooner. You said it now. Nia told him. That matters. Laura looked around and realized no one was defending her anymore. Not Ava, not Ethan, not even Marcus. I gave everything to this job, she whispered. And you gave away your integrity. Nia replied, which one of us made the worst trade? No one answered, because deep down, they all knew. Nia didn't raise her voice. She didn't have to. She simply stepped forward, past the podium, past Marcus, past Laura, and faced the dining room as though it were a boardroom. My name is Nia Carter, she said clearly, her voice unwavering. I am the founder and CEO of Carter Dining Group. I own Haven Bistro. And as of this moment, Laura Bennett, Ava Lynn, Ethan Price, and Marcus Tate, you are all relieved of your duties. A sharp intake of breath rippled through the room. Laura gasped. Ava looked stunned, blinking like she'd just stepped out of a nightmare. Ethan slumped where he stood, eyes glued to the floor. Marcus closed his eyes and nodded once, accepting it. You don't have the right, Laura started, but Nia held up her hand. The right was mine the moment I signed the first check that built this kitchen, the moment I made this space to be safe, respectful, and inclusive. You turned it into something else, something small, something selective, and I will not allow that to continue. Not for another night. Not under my name. The storm outside had quieted to a soft rain, but inside, the pressure had only just shifted. Guests watched silently, some with phones in hand, not to record, but to bear witness. What you saw tonight wasn't a show, Nia continued. It was a test. For weeks I've been receiving complaints. On Yelp, through our private feedback line, even from former staff who were afraid to speak publicly. I gave this team time to improve. Instead, they buried the evidence, and now we dig it back up. She turned slightly toward Kayla's voice, still echoing through the speaker. Begin the fund announcement. Kayla's voice came steady. Effective immediately. Carter Dining Group is launching a $12 million dining equity fund. Its purpose, to retrain hospitality staff across all our properties with a focus on bias awareness, service equity, and workplace accountability. Haven Bistro will be the flagship pilot location. There was a beat of silence. Then someone clapped, then another, until a soft wave of applause rose, not thunderous, but meaningful. The kind of applause that came from shared relief. No more silent seating protocols, Nia said, eyes still on Laura. No more back-office filtering, no more treating customers like they have to prove they belong here. This restaurant belongs to everyone who walks in with dignity. Laura's hands trembled. You're ruining careers. You ruined them, Nia said. I'm just making the damage visible. Then Ava, still frozen behind the podium, suddenly spoke. Her voice was small, almost pleading. There's more. Everyone turned. Nia narrowed her gaze. More what? Ava swallowed hard. There's a second folder. Not just complaints from guests, internal ones, from staff, servers, hosts, even vendors. They were told not to report bias, not to escalate it to corporate. Laura said it would make the location look bad, so we kept it in a separate drawer, labeled non-critical. Ethan's head snapped up. You told us those were training notes. Ava shook her head. They weren't. They were testimonies. Some of them detailed harassment, and we let them rot. The room was dead quiet. You could hear the low click of a single spoon hitting a ceramic plate. Kayla's voice came again. Ms. Carter, do you want to initiate a full retrieval and audit? Yes. Nia said, mark every document, every name. We're not burying anyone else's voice. Owen stepped forward, speaking now not as a customer, but as a citizen. You're not just cleaning house, you're rewriting the foundation. That's what it takes sometimes, Nia replied. When rot runs deep, a fresh coat of paint won't fix it. You start again. Laura looked pale, small, like someone realizing too late the weight of what she'd lost. I gave you years, Nia said quietly. And in the end, you gave me a list of people you decided didn't belong. That's not hospitality. That's cowardice. Ava looked to Nia now, voice trembling. I wanted to speak sooner. I did. But I was scared. Fear is understandable, Nia replied. But it's not a shield forever. Silence becomes complicity. You broke that silence tonight. That matters. But it doesn't erase the damage. Imani, from her table, added. It takes all of us. Not just CEOs. Not just whistleblowers. It takes people willing to be uncomfortable so things can finally change. Which is why the Dining Equity Fund isn't just for staff, Naya added. It'll also support community workshops, customer education, and a reporting system for anyone, staff or guest, who feels mistreated. We're doing this out loud, not behind closed doors, someone near the fireplace whispered. About time. And it was long overdue. This location will close temporarily for retraining, Nia announced. When we reopen, you'll see new faces, new policies, a new promise on the wall that says, service without bias, welcome without exception. And in that moment, it was clear. Haven Bistro would never be the same again. And that was exactly the point. Inside the back office, the walls felt closer than they had earlier that evening. A simple desk, 2 chairs, and a stack of binders lined against the far wall. The room was modest, intentionally so. Nia stood near the door, rain still dampening the hem of her skirt. As Kayla's voice came through clearly over the speakerphone now resting on the desk. Termination forms prepped for Bennett, Lynn, Price, and Tate. All internal documentation logged. Confirm when signatures are complete. Nia didn't bother sitting. She looked at each of them, Laura, Ava, Ethan, and Marcus, as they stood shoulder to shoulder. No longer a management team, just 4 people on the receiving end of consequences. You're dismissed, Nia said calmly. Effective immediately. Security escort will follow. Do not speak to guests. Do not touch the terminals. And do not. But before she could finish, Ethan stepped forward. Wait. There's one more thing. Nia's eyes narrowed slightly. Go on. Ethan swallowed. It wasn't just the complaints we buried. There was a system, a spreadsheet we kept. It tracked certain flagged guests. We'd mark them by initials or vague descriptions, appearance, speech, even addresses. The whole staff knew about it. Who authorized it? Kayla's voice asked. Ethan hesitated, then looked at Laura. She didn't deny it, just folded her arms and looked away. You created a shadow registry, Nia said, her voice lower now. You turned this restaurant into a gatekeeping machine. Ethan nodded. It wasn't right. We told ourselves we were protecting the brand, but we were protecting our bias. Nia stepped toward the door, opened it slowly, and gestured out. That spreadsheet ends tonight, along with all of you. No one argued. Not now. They filed out quietly, heads down, past the very guests they had once tried to manage, sideline, or ignore. When Nia stepped back into the dining room, the energy shifted again. This time, it wasn't shock or outrage. It was quiet affirmation. People leaned in. Some smiled softly. Others just nodded, as if to say, finally. Nia walked to the center of the room, beneath the glow of the central pendant light, and raised her voice just enough to be heard without force. As of tonight, Haven Bistro will begin a full cultural reformation. Effective immediately, we are launching the Haven Harmony Initiative. Elena stood from her table, eyes glistening. What does that mean? It means a new standard of service. Nia replied. It means hiring for empathy, not just experience. It means open reporting, visible logs, and mandatory equity training for every team member, from host to head chef. And it means that what happened tonight will never happen here again. Kayla's voice returned through the speaker, this time warmer, like a smile woven through syllables. Dining Equity Fund and Haven Harmony Initiative both registered. Initial rollout begins Monday. Imani stood beside her table, sketchpad tucked under her arm. And what happens to people like me? Do we ever get invited back? Nia stepped toward her, extending a hand. You are always welcome here. And tonight, dinner's on me. Imani took her hand, then nodded quietly. Thank you for seeing us. That's what this place was built for, Nia said. It just lost its way. But we found the road again. Outside. The rain had finally stopped. The sidewalks shimmered in the city light, and through the windows, Haven no longer looked like a place of exclusion. It looked like a place ready to begin again. The dining room remained hushed long after the final dismissal. Guests lingered over empty plates and cold glasses of wine, not out of hunger, but reflection. What they had witnessed wasn't a meltdown. It was a turning point. Nia stood once more near the center of the room, her blouse still damp at the collar, but her presence commanding as ever. She didn't need a podium. Her voice carried with a gravity shaped by years of endurance, restraint, and clarity. This wasn't just about poor service, she said softly. It was about a culture that chooses who to respect and who to ignore. Tonight, that culture ends here. Kayla's voice filtered through the phone on the bar. Final guest report submitted. Local news team has requested comment. No statement yet, Nia replied. Let the action speak first. Just then, a voice called out from the far end of the dining room. A woman stood near the rear exit, older, mid-50s, apron still tied around her waist. She had stepped out from the kitchen shadows, hesitating before walking forward. Ms. Carter, she said gently. My name's Rosa. I worked here 2 years ago, left after reporting bias to Laura, about a vendor being overcharged based on race. She dismissed it. I tried again, but the file disappeared. I knew then nothing would change. So I quit. Nia turned toward her. You were ignored. Rosa nodded. I stayed quiet until tonight, but watching you take control, watching them fall in line, it reminded me what accountability can look like. A few guests turned in their seats, listening. And I want to come back, if you'll let me. I want to be part of building it right this time. Nia's answer came without pause. Come see me Monday morning. Haven needs people who never stopped caring. Rosa nodded, a flicker of emotion in her eyes, as she stepped back. Elena rose and spoke toward the room, her voice strong. Let this be what people remember, not the mistake, but the correction, not the silence, but the voice that followed. Owen raised his glass. To that voice, Imani smiled. To the ones who spoke when it counted, Kayla's voice returned. Dining Equity Fund disbursement underway. Community workshop partner confirmed. Equity signage design approved. Posted in every hallway, Nia replied. And etch it in the new menus. She turned to Imani again. You said something earlier. Do people like you ever get invited back? Imani nodded. Yeah. Let me be clear. Nia said. This isn't your invitation back. This is your table. You were never supposed to be shut out of it. A moment passed, then another. The storm had passed outside. But what lingered in the air was something else entirely. Peace, hard-earned, and not at all quiet. The front doors opened to reveal a crisp post-rain breeze. And in that moment, for the first time all evening, the restaurant truly felt open. 1 year later, a new sign hung in the window of Haven Bistro. All are welcome, without exception. Inside, guests dined beneath new pendant lights. Staff rotated tables with warmth and confidence, and reviews on Yelp now praised the food and the heart behind it. The once hidden logbook now stood in the open, available for every guest to see. The bias folder had been shredded, replaced by the Haven Harmony Guidebook, mandatory reading for every new hire, and at the center of it all. Nia Carter stood quietly during the anniversary reopening, not to command, but simply to listen. No speeches, just presence. A local high school culinary student offered a mentorship through the Dining Equity Fund, brought her a glass of water and said, "Thank you for making space." Nia smiled. "It was always yours. I just finally cleared the table." And with that, she stepped aside, letting the next chapter begin without applause, but with purpose. Because real reform isn't loud. It's lasting. If you've ever been judged by how you look or denied something you rightfully deserved, share this story, like, subscribe, and help spread the message. Service must come with respect. For everyone, together, we can turn places of exclusion into spaces of belonging. Change begins with speaking up, and it starts with you.